Welcome to the Visual Div. I'm your co-host, Aline Tobin, and I'm here with the host, Matt, who refused to do the intro.
I wanted to share the love. I wanted to share the love.
How are you, Matt?
Very good, thanks. Very good. Yeah. Um, what is it? Hump day today? Wednesday, hump day.
Is it? Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah. But like as a freelancer, I'm not sure I have hump days. I have. Well, hump days is meant to be the middle of the week, isn't it? You know, you're neither here nor there. It's the furthest point from the weekend that you can get to. But I think when you're freelancing and you're doing it from home, it ebbs and flows so much that sometimes Wednesday can be like, awesome, I can go and hang out with the family today because I don't have any work to do. And and then
Nothing's come in, so
yeah,
I'm on enforced holidays.
yeah, well, say that. That's exactly kind of what's happened this week is hey, we'll have all these assets delivered to you by Tuesday night. And then you wake up Wednesday morning and you're going, where are the assets? I can't do anything. But then on the flip side, another client came in with all their assets that I didn't know when they were coming in, and they came in last night. So I was like, right, move the chairs around the deck and get on with another stuff. So it's a good Wednesday. It's a good
Good
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I'm also doing interesting. I'm also working for my brother-in-law. He's launching a yogurt brand in Ireland, which is pretty cool. I like working with startups that aren't just techie; they're
Hmm.
products, you know. So I'll be able to go to the shop hopefully and go, "Hey, I've created a website for this yogurt brand," you
I
know.
thought you said you were going to be modeling for it or something and see my face on a yogurt bottle.
Well, you say that the way he's doing it is very very bootstraps. I would not be surprised if part of the family are called in to do some modeling shots on the farm with standing next to some cows in the field saying, "Hey, we're from Portlaoise." And
Port
then
leash, dairy, and yogurt.
exactly,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Sounds so good.
But yeah, I was up quite late last night because they sent through the product shots and they were very different to the product shots that I'd used previously for the website. So I was remodeling them, redoing them in Figma, and then wrapping around the 3D model and then putting them in the website. So I was up till about midnight last night doing that, which was all right. But
Yeah, I kind of had a late one as well. I've had a mental couple of weeks because there's been like in the middle of a soft launch of this web app that I've built for a company, and it's just things aren't quite ready, so it's been a bit stressful just trying to get
yeah,
things over the line.
yeah, there's such a fine balance, isn't there, between having a deadline that's exciting to hit and then getting close to that deadline and realizing, especially with a web app has lots of dark corners and UX patterns that you need to deal with that maybe a flat sort of marketing website doesn't deal with. And then, boom, you've got to deal with all this stuff because you want to go live. And then the panic sets in, and you've just got to keep the lid on the panic enough that you're excited to get the stuff done, but not too much that you just get laid back and go, "Hey, it'll be all right." You know, you need a little bit of panic and a little bit of, but not too much. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, a bit of a deadline is good. The deadline got pushed a bit, but there's a hard deadline now for Monday, and now yeah, there's a bit of just kickback because staff aren't trained on how to use the new product, and it's kind of it's a bit. There's internal stuff that's a bit stressful, but it's it's been an unbelievable process of trying to figure it out. So yeah, hopefully it'll get the green light. And yeah, we're also in the middle of like a transition from a previous kind of environment that users were in and trying to move them over to this one. So the what there is like there's this fallback of like, oh, if things aren't perfect, which we know in tech nothing's ever perfect, then let's just use the old product. But it's kind of getting to this stage where I'm managing two products and one is I keep calling it a zombie. We need, yeah, so it needs to just, have a nice send off at some stage. So
Yeah.
we need to get people onto this product, or else it will just be like more users that are on this old product.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
remember doing that with a product team that I worked on. You have the old product, but with that comes the old way of doing things. So everyone in the
mm,
company, from yes, the product team and maybe the marketing team and maybe the sales team have been consulted quite a lot in the way that they use the product or how their customers use the product. So they get exposed to the build process and the design and build process quite early. But you don't ever engage with the accounts team or the data team as much because it's very kind of front endy, exciting, sexy stuff going on, you know? And then you do this launch and the migration and you tick all the boxes, and then someone from accounts comes and like, I'm just trying to pull this report. And you're like, what report? Like, no one told me about this report.
yeah,
We had this little macro going that went in and downloaded the CSV and put it into this and da 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 da. It's like, okay, that's cool. We'll put it in the pipeline, in the roadmap to sort out. He goes, no, I need it today because if I don't do that, then suppliers don't get paid. Da 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 da. And that's where the product stuff is so different from building marketing sites. Marketing sites, you can touch things, you can see things, and there's bugs, and you've got things like the redirects, which and alt tags and accessibility that kind of sit below the surface that people don't maybe think about. But with product stuff where you've got databases and other stakeholders pulling from more, like it's a full on, and you realize why it costs a lot of money to have teams to build these
mm.
things, because it's a skill. Um,
Yeah. So I'm lucky in the fact that like it's starting from the ground up. Like we're not completely. We kind of caught the zombie early enough when we realized that there was value in what we were trying to do. So the migration is relatively seamless, but yeah, it just hasn't happened yet. But on top of that, like you were saying, like I got a surf in yesterday, so I was
it's
able
not
to
all
like,
bad.
yeah, get smashed around by the ocean for an hour and put things into perspective.
Yeah, having only been surfing probably 10 times in my life. Um, Most of those times probably couldn't be called surfing, more like swimming with a board next to me. Uh, I I did the last time I went surfing was on the Welsh coast with my friend, and I literally got battered by these waves for about 40 minutes. He had a great time. I think I didn't see what he was doing because I was underwater most of the time, but
That's
I can
hilarious.
imagine you just come out. It is like a washing machine. You just come out walking on the beach, going, "I've just been fighting with water for 40 minutes. I didn't realize it was 40 minutes, but I've been there for 40 minutes and I feel unbelievable. Like my head, everything about me is just fresh. And even though I hadn't caught a wave, I hadn't got anywhere near catching a wave. I couldn't get past the damn wave to catch a wave. I felt like I was like, yeah, I'll do this next week. This is cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of punishment with it sometimes. Yeah, it's a funny activity.
Yeah.
But I was actually surfing with a Welsh lad yesterday, just randomly, and he grew up surfing on the Welsh coast. So yeah, we went off to this place that's pretty isolated. You walk across a field, you hang out with some bullocks, some baby cows, and then you just walk to an end of a point, and it could look like nothing, and then yeah, you have to get off these like pretty. You're basically scaling down a teeny tiny cliff and jumping off rocks and trying to time it in between the waves so that you don't get washed over to other rocks. A
Yeah, I'll
wonderful
leave that.
spot though.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Sounds amazing.
It is
Uh,
though. It's pretty nuts. Like you're in these spots and you're looking around the place. Like north, you're seeing the cliffs of Moher. South, you're able to see a bit of the outline of the coast. It's pretty wild. And sometimes you get like seals and dolphins popping up beside you, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you like where you live is unbelievable. Like people travel from around the globe to get a bus from Dublin to get like 10 minutes with where you live to go back, and that's the highlight of their trip, and you just live on that doorstep. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, well, that that's true, but it took me leaving Ireland for nearly 2 years to cop on and figure out that you know, I'm from a beautiful part of the world. Like I left and I went to traveled from like New York down to New Orleans, over to California, down through Mexico into Nicaragua, and like then back to Europe, over the course of 2 years. And it was just like, um, I literally left on the 12th of the 12th, 2012, saying I'm never coming back to Ireland. Ireland was deep in recession. There was the world recession and then there was an Irish recession. And like my plan was probably to end up, I didn't have a plan. I don't know how old I was, 24 or 25. I just was done with Ireland. My plan was to end up over in Australia, maybe New Zealand, maybe Canada, anywhere but Ireland. And 2 years later, I end up back in Ireland with a Canadian girl who's now my fiance. So yeah,
Who you met in Nicaragua?
who I met in Nicaragua. Yeah,
Yeah,
mad.
that's the best way, isn't it?
Yeah, but it literally took me to leave to realize how beautiful it is here. And
Yeah.
since then, since I moved back to, so I live in County Clare. Since I moved back to County Clare, my whole like modus operandum is to, how do I not have to commute from here, and how do I get to stay here? And that's where software development and Webflow came in. Mad.
It is mad. It is mad. And yeah, that's I think it's everyone's dream, isn't it? Like we're trying to move from Dublin because Dublin's it's a city, it's congested, it's lovely, but it's and we're trying to move into the Midlands because that's where family are from. And
That's
but
where the
there's
yogurt
nothing.
is.
That's where the yogurt is. That's where the dairy farm is with the yogurt. But there's nothing there. There is something there. It's beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as going to Clare or Kerry or Mayo, which are beautiful, but they're miles from anywhere. So
Yeah,
there's like a tension between waking up in the morning and walking out the door in Mayo, where my wife's from, and going, "Oh my god, this is pretty cool," to walking out the door in Portlaoise, when actually you're still going, "I'm in the middle of fields here." Like for miles around, there's fields, there's countryside, there's mountain bike trails, there's camping spots, it's pretty damn cool, but it's not dramatic. It's
it's
not
not
the
wild.
bit. No, it's every field has got a cow in it that has been agriculturally positioned to make the most milk possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very very different. Now it's not very touristy, which is a bonus sometimes.
The Midlands are beautiful.
Yeah,
My family are from, my parents, both sides are from County Meath, and it's just like, yeah, it's a different kind of beautiful. But there's the towns are more well kept and older. I suppose it was wealthier there back in the day. Um, but yeah, there's a different beauty in the Midlands.
yeah.
I love it.
So
I
yeah,
don't get it often, but I do love it.
it is nice. Yeah, so hopefully we'll be there soon. But anyway, enough about the geography of Ireland. Well, actually, I could talk about this all day because it's like Wales, like where I'm from. It's just people don't realise how good it is, and how beautiful it is, and if you can get the lifestyle, it's like there's no reason to leave.
Yeah.
Um, but we had planned, we had planned to talk about another kerfuffle.
A Twitter kerfuffle.
Another Twitter kerfuffle about a big dog saying they've had enough of Webflow and they were leaving
And as
because
Claudia
yeah.
from Floxy said, what's with all the drama? So much drama. I'm
So much
paraphrasing here, but
drama.
she used the word drama. There was
Yeah,
tons of
there's
drama yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was it was probably only an hour actually on Twitter. Like, Twitter goes
yeah,
nuts for an hour.
but
Um,
It was my favorite account, Design Joy, the Design Joy account. Brett from
Right.
Design Joy wrote a letter, a love letter. No, it wasn't a love letter, was it? It
It
was
was a
a
breakup letter.
breakup letter. He called it, to say that Webflow had asked him to pay a lot of money for the servers, and he wasn't. He didn't think he was using as much bandwidth as they said he was, and yeah, he was breaking up with Webflow as a tool for his website stroke whatever he uses it for. And then obviously Webflow came back in and saved the day and said, "Oh, it was a big mistake. Don't worry about it," because obviously he's a bit of a big deal on the Twitter sphere. He has got lots of followers. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. There are moments like that where it go, you're knocking Webflow, my darling Webflow, that I try and sell to clients as a fair, honest, dynamic, progressive platform, and you're coming out with pretty incendiary tweets, rightly or wrongly, that say they're trying to get one over, and they're corporate greed and all this kind of stuff. So it did catch a lot of people. Like, I think there's probably two sides: people who say love, but people who follow the Design Joy story and mentality with the idea that one man can build a £2 million business designing websites on his own every day. And then you've got the flip side, and I'm in this camp where I'm like, you're just selling courses. You're just selling courses. And we were chatting about it, weren't we? We were chatting about it, yourself, Ben, and I, and just trying to see what impact do tweets like that have. And maybe this is an opportunity for us to talk about the unlimited subscription design, subscription build subscriptions that have been trending in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the particular tweet, like, it was, the numbers he was talking were huge. I think he said 70 grand a month that Webflow was asking him for. I can't remember now, but it was
Yeah,
pretty
well, that
nuts.
that would be enterprise level hosting.
And the claim was that there was an estimate of like a ridiculous amount of traffic, and then because his traffic was so large, that there was this huge fee. So, like, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if this is true or not, but like, Jesus, did it get attention? And I'm on a few different like WhatsApp groups and Slack channels, and a few people were like, "Do I need to consider my job?" Because, if first of all, if the tweet was true and accurate, and that was the type of stuff that was coming in your inbox, and because your business has grown at a particular in a particular trajectory and gone better than expected, then you're going to be massively penalized for having that amount of traffic. So that's one thing. If you were a business owner, you'd be like, hey, hang on a second. When I get to this stage, I'm going to get absolutely screwed. So that's if the claim is true. And then if the claim is untrue, that particular tweet is telling other businesses that Webflow is not the platform to work out of. And, Webflow will survive. Webflow is a huge corporation, but it's the people who are making their money off Webflow that are more affected. So in the tweet, there was tons of designers. I say designers saying that the best. That's why you don't design on Webflow, even though the Webflow is a development tool. So designers, it is a development tool, no matter how much easier it is to develop on. But there was tons of people bagging on it and promoting other platforms and all this. And, the kind of, is it called dogpiling, when you jump on a tweet like that and just like inflame the rage? But yeah, the thing that like got me is more the potential risk to workers, and they're people who've set up businesses based around Webflow. And I think someone with the platform, like your man Design Joy, have like actually a responsibility more so than just making money themselves to not potentially risk other people's income.
Yeah,
So that's
but
the way I come
like,
from it.
no, I think you bang on with the approach there, or the assertion. But I think someone like that, and this is just my opinion, from looking at things for the last couple of years, is like, it's a viral tweet, it's incendiary, it's what gets engagements, likes, retweets, comments, da 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 da, regardless of the truth. You know what they say about falsities? It's like it's traveled halfway around the world before the truth comes out. And then you're in the truth will has to catch up if someone says something like that. So whether it, I would assume it happened. I assume there was a mistake somewhere. There was a bit of comms that came out, or an email got sent in a way that shouldn't have. I wouldn't doubt that. It's just, I guess the idea is someone's jumping on that and going, "Whoa, this is a good little subject for us to." It's a bit of clickbait, a lot of clickbait maybe, and
We're
boom, off you go.
definitely riding the wave of this clickbait.
We are. We're talking about it. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we might even have called this podcast, I'm you know I'm out of Webflow. I'm done with Webflow. Like, that might be the title of the podcast. No, it won't be. Um, but yeah, I think if it was anyone else, say if it was say a person that I respected in the Webflow world, who had a balanced view on stuff, then I would be very concerned from my end of the point. Um, I think, yes, maybe there'll be some people who are following that account, that are considering Webflow in the future, whether it's personally or for their business. And yes, once you've heard something, you can't unhear it, and that's going to have an
Hmm.
impact on their decision making. Now, that's not to say that the enterprise sort of plan and the way Webflow scales anyway in terms of pricing, you can get into that kind of trouble. Like, you can get into that. It's not like it goes from 20, 40, 100. It goes from 20, 40, 60 grand. There is no middle ground. There is no sort of scaling of pricing when it comes to
Now,
hosting.
is that 60 grand a year or 60 grand a month? Do you know?
Um,
I
I
don't know
think
what the
it's
pricing is.
I think it's 60 grand a year, as far as I'm. Yeah, it's
So
60 grand a year.
what I found interesting was like the numbers that were claimed in that tweet were insane. Um, but also I find it interesting that the tweet has been removed. So if the tweet was letter factual, what was this is my opinion, absolutely no evidence to back this up. But if that tweet was exactly what was sent to that person, then I don't see a reason why you would have to remove the tweet. If there was little white lies or porky pies in there, or if things were inflamed ever so slightly or exaggerated, well, then I'm pretty sure there would be some pretty. We were talking about legal stuff the other day. I'm pretty sure there would be some potential ramifications there, and that would be the reason that the tweet has been taken down. That's just my take on
Yeah,
that.
very true.
Um,
Um, but
but yeah,
yeah,
it does kind of. Yeah, I suppose that I don't know what the jump is from business to enterprise, but I do know it's quite large.
yeah, no, it is large, and I know there's a lot of, yeah, and when funding comes into a business like Webflow, for example, I guess we're moving on to the idea, like, what is Webflow's pricing strategy here? They have a great product. They make their money by charging for workspace plans. So we as freelancers on agencies have certain plans, and that gives you certain features. And then the hosting of live sites has hosting plans, which, you know, industry standard is probably on the expensive side. But you get a lot for your money, and like I think it's worth it. But when you start going into the enterprise world, there's lots of different things that come with it, and they generally involve people, highly skilled support people that would work on your account, and and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know the ins and outs. Although I've worked on quite a few enterprise sites before. Um, I've never seen the sort of translation of what that much extra cost for hosting gets you in terms of value. Um, because again, I work on the front end side, so a site I build is a 1-pager, a 2-pager, a 5-pager. Who's paying the hosting and how much they're paying is something that I never dealt with at agency level. So it is super interesting because it does in one side, yes, there could be some porcupines there to increase the appeal of the tweet for the haters to come on and diss on Webflow, and that has a knock-on effect on guys like ourselves and other agencies, and they have to go maybe in. There might be a few enterprise contracts that have sort of dropped because people have read this or asked agencies to explain actually what am I getting for my money, kind of thing. But on the other side, I guess it does also highlight that maybe Webflow do need to work a little bit on this sort of middle ground pricing structure where, it's not lots of money or little money. There needs to be a middle ground where the middle ground companies that are doing a decent amount of traffic but don't need the enterprise package can operate in. So it's it's super interesting. But also, I suppose this is going on a tangent a little bit, but it does, like, the design joy thing has always burnt a, like, I just don't like the model that he uses. I'm not a fan. I don't really believe that he's sitting at his desk. Okay, he's not well, he does do podcasts, but he's like, how he does what he does, say he does, to make all this money with, I don't know how many clients he has that pay him 5, 6, 7, 8 grand a month to do this unlimited design thing. Has always left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, there's one side of me think, is that because I can't do it? I'm not good enough and quick enough and efficient enough to do that? Or, as I like to think it is, it's just it's a little a few porcupines that's not really backed up with much evidence and has a few anecdotal stories that it doesn't quite work. But there's a sales ploy. It's a kind of, I need to sell this course. I need to create a success story. I'm going to go all over Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, and tell the story, and Hacker News, and every 5 minutes on Hacker News or any of those forums, and going, hey, this is how you do it. Here's, sign up to my course, book a consultation with me.
Which is $250 for 20 minutes. So if you reverse, the Twitter says 1.5 million per year. So if you reverse engineer $250 for 20 minutes, that's 38 hours a week of 20-minute calls. So there's your 1.5 million. And fair play if that's it. But just on the quantity, okay, there's a heap of design services or subscription services out there, and I've done them. I've done so many different pricing things, but the design subscription I found really successful. But I was able to manage maximum 5 clients in a month, maximum, and I would equate to about 1 client per day. And what I loved about it was there was time to breathe. So client would come in and they're like, this is what I want. And it's like, okay, you want the world, you want the sun, the moon, and the stars. And I was like, you can't get that. That's just not possible. We can get you, a rocket ship just coming off the planet, and we can target the sun, and we can figure out this problem that you have. And I've had and that was so cool, because instead of just like, here's a package, I'm selling you a package, and at the end of that package you've got something, and you're getting in there, you're listening to what they actually want, and you're creating a product that is a business solution, as opposed to just like, here's 5 pages, here's 10 pages, this is what you get. And it worked really, really well, because not only was there time, what I was saying, there's breathe, and keep asking the questions. Because if I thought the there wasn't clarity in there. And then because I knew that I had the security of that, if this doesn't, um, like I don't have to get something done in a fixed price. It's like we're going to work for a month, and if we get somewhere, this is what we get, and like you have to be really clear. But if we don't get there, then we have to roll on to next month. And if next month we have something, like is it actually the final product? And if it's not, is it good enough to get in front of clients? And then can we get clients or users on it? And can we get feedback from users? And that's where it starts to get like really cool, because now you're working continuously with someone and evolving that product. Um, and that I really enjoyed that kind of style of working with someone. Like I felt more like a fractional part of the company as opposed to like a subscription or whatever. Like, but I wasn't, when I was doing it, like I wasn't just smacking out templates. And maybe it's just the way, maybe it's just the way that the whatever marketing I was doing at the time, the clients that I got back, that you know, I just got companies that had like a problem that needed solving, but I could easily see working for an agency in this kind of capacity where you're you're helping them produce landing pages or produce um, websites, microsites in a kind of an agile space. I could see it. It has definitely got benefits, and I really enjoyed it. It works really well. But I could only do 5 clients. There's no way that I could have gone more than 5 clients. If I could have gone more than 5 clients, but then I'm going into like 12-hour days, and I don't want to do that.
Well, that's my question with it is when you sell, and I'm not saying you did, but when you sell, say, let's say $5,000 for an unlimited Webflow development or unlimited design. So a lot of whether it's small print, it's not normally small print, but it's like one task at a time. Yeah. So you have this backlog of tasks and submit it, and then I've got this conveyor belt of right, change this, next one, change this, next one, change this, next one. And if there's nothing in the backlog, I can't take any more. And as a freelancer with that model, I might say sign up 5 clients and go, right, I'll take one and then move to the next client, take one, just take the top one and then move on to the next one and keep going until, and some clients will run out. Some clients will have an everlasting backlog of stuff to do. So the way I feel is like it's a zero-sum game here. It's like one client is either getting loads of value for money, because the quicker you work, the more tasks you can go through. Whereas the client that and that's one of the arguments for this. It's like, yeah, but it's not punishing efficiency. Well, if I just go, it's unlimited. It's like, right, it took me 5 minutes to do that task. Then I move on to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And because I'm good at doing that and working efficiently, I'm punishing myself for doing that because they're not paying me anymore. But likewise, if I'm not able to go through those tasks because I've got other clients to do, then the client is getting punished because they don't know what they're going to get at the start of the month for the money that they're paying. They're paying a fixed fee, and like let's talk about an all-you-can-eat restaurant. Sometimes if you go in with your partner, I will eat probably 50% more than my partner at any restaurant. So I might, maybe I'll have dessert, whatever. But and all you can eat, you both pay flat fee, $50, and go in. And I eat $200 worth of food, whereas my partner only eats $20 worth of food. So there's always a disconnect. No, like I was going to do it with all you can drink brunches that you do, but not everyone does all you can drink brunches. So, but no, but you get what I'm saying. There's always a winner and there's always a loser.
Well, quantity isn't necessarily better value.
No, but it's not the quantity. It's it's being sold on the quantity. So it's being
Uh,
sold as this unlimited for a set price, but it's not unlimited. And if it was unlimited,
let's just be clear though. Like the a lot of these models are unlimited requests, but it is one task. So there, I've seen people say, "Oh, it's disingenuous." It's not really. It's just saying that if you've got 1,000 tasks, we can eventually do the 1,000 tasks, but we need to start at task one today. And I suppose you're right. Like you could be, depends on how big or small the task is, but like this, my experience with one of these jobs, just getting the idea that the business owner wanted, like they had just to try and clarify that idea and create a sitemap of that idea, took a month. It took a month, and it
no,
took
I know,
four
but
weeks to
why?
figure out that problem. And that was creating a sitemap. In theory, it was the one task, and we didn't move off it. But the iterations of it and the consultation back and forth. And now I didn't do it all async. Like we'd scheduled meetings in, and we did like video calls back and forth. But you see, sometimes like with this particular one, there was like it was a questionnaire, and it it ended up with like there was 180 outcomes from the start. But the business owner was just like, oh yeah, and then we'll go to here, and then we'll do that, and then because like everybody thinks about their mind, and when your mind, like it's so simple to get to that, but when you're like doing something that needs logic or needs like Webflow CMS integration, or needs to then like what is it, 180 outcomes to then redirect to 9 products. Like when you're building something true like that, a lot of the a lot of the effort goes into making sure that that is thought through correctly.
No,
So
but
you
regardless,
couldn't
yeah, but
sell you
regardless
couldn't
of the
sell that as
detail,
a package.
but something is happening here. So you would have put over that month, you would have put a set amount of hours into that business to help them understand what they're trying to build. You know, whether you're building, designing,
Yeah.
scoping, you're putting a set amount of hours in. So at the end of that month, you could probably say, okay, I was basically, you paid me $20 an hour or €20 an hour, yeah, equivalent. So the next month comes along, and I would say, okay, well, if you're happy with that, you're happy with $20, €20 an hour, and they're happy with €20 an hour, then why isn't that then followed through on the next month? Because the next month could be you could do half as many hours for the same price. So they might be going, well, I'm getting less value here. So essentially what you're doing is what you're doing with unlimited, you're going, right, someone is rolling the dice. Someone is rolling the dice at the start of that contract. Like from my end, I'm getting guaranteed $5,000. The client's going, I'm guaranteed. Well, I'm not guaranteed anything because I
No,
don't
they're
know.
guaranteed access to a highly skilled Webflow
I know,
developer.
but how much
Like,
access? Like if you
but what's
say,
the
look, if you've got 20, you get 20 hours of access to me. That's nice and clear, cut and dry. 20 hours. If they want to add another 10 hours on, you pay for an extra 10 hours. But it's cut and dry. Like I could do 20 tasks in an hour, or I could do 2 complex tasks in an hour. But the number of tasks, whether it's unlimited or 10 or whatever, it doesn't actually matter. It's more, I'm going to spend, like you do with work, like if I get paid a salary, I'm expected to turn up from 9 to 5, 5 days a week. That equates to a set amount of hours. Call it 40 hours a week. So there's a underlying contract that I get paid to turn up, and whatever I do, I could be super efficient, I could be super inefficient, there's lots of I
Okay,
could
so just
you know
you've gone on two different things there. So first of all, if an employee, someone is working month to month for someone, if no jobs come in next month, that employee still gets paid, right? And
yeah,
then there's busy times in the year. So that argument it doesn't make sense to me, because if the jobs don't come in, you still have access to that employee. So with this subscription service model, you still have access to that developer, and that developer is not going out hustling for more work because they've got access to them. The thing that you were saying there about the hourly one, yeah, like I understand it's clear, but also at the same time, you could quite easily go, that took me 4 hours when it only took you half an hour. You could easily do that. Like that's the same kind of issues and trust. They're still there.
No, no, it's
Like,
not. It's
and
not. It's not a trust issue. It's
no, you were
the
just saying you were talking about value and is the client getting value, and you're saying the client could get screwed over next month. Like these hourly contracts as well. Like if they don't get used in a month, they don't roll over. So it's the same. You're selling the same thing. You're selling access to an expert. It's just a slightly different marketing tool. I preferred this one
no.
because I didn't.
I disagree. I 100% disagree. You're not. It's not a different way of saying it. When you say when you submit a task, one task, and they go, you will get a response in 1 to 2 days, or whatever the SOW is.
Mhm.
That task could be as simple as change the header on this page, and that takes 1 to 2 days. Even though the developer or the designer will do that in 2 minutes, the client is getting an SOW that will take 1 or 2 days. When you're an employee, that doesn't exist. If
It does actually, because so just to
Well,
be clear,
it doesn't
there
though,
is
does it? If someone,
yeah, it does. Like if you
if my boss
hang
came
on, if
over and goes, "Can you change that header?" and I go, "Yeah, well, it will take me 10 minutes. I will do it."
and what if you have a deadline that day? What if okay, your boss comes up to you, but then your boss's boss is expecting you to have something. It happens all the time.
I
Like
know, but
things.
they have an
If
influence on that. I'm part of the
if
same company. What I can't do is turn around to my unlimited subscription and go, "It will take me 10 minutes, but sorry, I've got another 5 clients that I need to deal with, who are also paying 5 grand a month. So you have to get back to the back of the queue. Your task
hang
is
hang on a second. Just be careful. I wasn't charging 5 clients 5 grand a month. So
no,
just in
I'm
case
not. I'm
someone's
not.
listening thinking that I was making 25 grand a month, I was not.
No, I'm not saying you
So,
are. I'm just saying
but yeah,
that's
but you just keep saying, you keep putting it into this perspective of by 5 grand a month. And that's going to straight away have people thinking that I was making 25 grand a month
no.
because they're going to.
I'm talking about
So just hang on.
design joy at charging five,
I'm
seven,
giving,
8 grand a month.
I don't see the difference between selling 20-hour package or 40-hour package a month or selling this service that jobs get done in a couple of days or get done in shorter periods of time. A lot of these subscription packages have 24-hour turnaround for small jobs, like what you were saying. Then they have their 1 to 2 day return based on semi-complex jobs, and they also say that they have a longer turnaround based on more complex jobs. And these things are communicated to the client. So going back to your I can do that header in 10 minutes thing, there is people out there that say minimum work is 15 minutes, minimum work is 30 minutes, minimum work is an hour. So that same issue arises depending on any retainer that you have. Even if it takes me 10 minutes, that task took an hour. And
Yeah,
that's what they're charging for.
the lawyer
So
model, like they when they pick up the
yeah,
phone, it's
so
six minutes. It's a minimum
like
6 minutes.
it just is a different way of doing things. Like, and I particularly liked it because I am shit at keeping time, and I would sell those packages at 10, 20, 30 hours a month, and I would be just over delivering in terms of my time. And just for me, I found it easier to manage. The client got the clients got the work the as good. They got better quality off me because I wasn't counting minutes and hours, and I wasn't stressed about counting minutes and hours. Now,
But where do you get these minutes and hours from? Because the first client gets all of your time, the second client gets half of your time, the third client gets a third of your time, the fourth client gets 25% of your time, the fifth client gets a fifth of your time. And that's, I think, like, I agree, is that you have a limit. And like the Design Joy, I do not have a limit. I'm so unbelievably good that I can charge 7 grand a month for everyone, and I can do 50 clients a month. That's just Like it's just crazy. How does someone do that when
I
you've
suppose
got?
this is where, so you're you're like talking to me as if I'm Design Joy, and I'm kind of
I'm
talking to you
not.
as
No,
if
no.
like, no,
Yeah.
I've done. So it's like we're kind of having this discussion based on two different things. This comes back to the tweet where, and we're both kind of like getting into it, but this comes back to the tweet where it's like that's where potentially there's, you know, are some white lies, or are things 100% um, up front. There's no way I could have done more than 5 clients. No way, absolutely no way. And that's me by myself.
Yeah.
Fucking
So to be clear, all of my talk here has been about the model that Design Joy purports to push as something that people can do, and therefore he sells a course of productizing your service. And there are other people in the Webflow space who have come on and gone, "Hey, I do 25 grand a month in unlimited subscriptions with one person." It's like I'm a responsible freelancer, and I understand that if I have 5 projects on, and some are going to take more of my time in a month, and some are going to take less, and you have to actively balance that. Like, when a client comes in and goes, "Hey, I've got this really exciting project on," you're like, "Well, I've just taken on another one. Can I squeeze it in?" Yes, I'm going to squeeze it in, but it means I'm going to work extra hours this month, and you work your way around that. I completely get that. But that's at a management scale with a plus or minus 20% workload. What I'm talking about is this perception that you can sell unlimited um, retainers, for want of a better word, subscriptions, and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and just stack them on. I completely agree with your idea. Like, if you get to 5 and someone else comes in to, "Hey, Aline, I've heard you've got a great service. Can I join your subscription unlimited?" You would, being the responsible freelancer, go, "Look, yes, but it will be a member of my team who does that, da 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 da," or you bring someone in to help you out, or that kind of stuff. But so
yeah,
where
like I had to stop it. Like I had to roll it back straight away because um, it was, yeah, you had to get. I would have had to get someone in, and like it was only for a short period of time when a couple of things overlapped, and I was like,
yeah,
this is insane.
it's hectic,
But
isn't it?
the really nice thing then is having like one or two of them, and then having projects coming in, maintaining. But essentially, it's just a retainer. It's just a different
I,
type
I
of
think
retainer.
I think that's the elephant in the room for me. Is it's a retainer. Like, I've been working for not Webflow or web design, but in agencies for the last 20 years, since I started out of college, was straight into agencies who did retainers, and we made money based off media spend that we spent, and they spent a certain amount of money, and that was classed as a retainer. And as a result of that consistency of having a retainer, my agency could go, "Right, we're going to have 2 account execs, 1 account manager, and 1 account director on your account all of the time." So if you've got a campaign coming up, those guys will be like there, boom, 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 smash it. When there's no campaigns, they're still there, ready for you to go. It
So
was.
it goes back to my point that businesses pay for access.
Yes, but
But
no, I understand the access bit, but it's overplaying the access, and the transparency of the access needs to be called out. It needs, like you're calling out there. It's like at 5, I was like maxed out, and I had to tone it down a little bit. If you'd gone to 6, your service level would have dropped considerably. But that's what annoys me by these people who are saying it just works. Well, it has a limit, and it has a very good limit, because you can't invent time, and you can't be as if so efficient that you can. I like
can't
I'm
invent time.
you can well, yeah, that's what confuses me. It's like I wouldn't be in the same way that I don't like counting hours when I deal with my clients. Um, I used to do it on a day rate,
Mhm.
and that was because hours, I didn't want to deal with hours. And then I went to a day rate, and I start to work out, okay, I'm charging for my time regardless of how quick I do it. So I get a day rate, and then I would then estimate how much I can do in that day. and then it would be plus or minus. Some days I would be really good, and I'd do it in 4 hours, and the client would pay for 8 hours. And then other times I would be really slow, or I'd come up to complexities that I didn't understand, had to work out, and I would take 12 hours, but I'd charge the client for 8 hours for a day. So there are pros and cons with the day rate stuff. And then I saw a video by Dan from Reloom, who...
I was literally going to talk about how they do it. Theirs is super interesting.
Yeah, it's just the way he talked about how they did it on a project and a phase level, and then he went down to this by page level. So he prices out a page based on the complexity of that page. And I've started to adopt that. I've adopted it the last 6 months. And even with existing clients that I'd have done a day rate, I said, look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at these pages. I'm going to look at the complexity of the design, complexity of the dev, and the complexity of any integrations or content you want to add, or complexity of adding components in because you want to change them in the future, or how the CMS works, and all this kind of stuff, and give it a complexity rating. And then that complexity rating will tell you how much the page will cost.
You've just moved on there to like pricing as opposed to like retainer based. And
but it's critical.
But hang on, the Reloom one was more that, wasn't it? You've a minimum of a day a month, and then they sell add-ons on top of that by half a day and a full day, and they never do a request on the day that it comes in. They book someone in 1 to 2, maybe 3 or 4 days and later, which is the same as the subscription base, just a different approach. And they do the work always based on a half day minimum. So it's like retainers are there to retain a service and a skill. And some days you win, some days you lose. Like there was, I've done stupid hours, like working till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get stuff ready for 9 or 10 the next day and even on projects that I've priced, and in these kind of subscription, any kind of retainer that I've had, and jobs. It's just some days you win, some days you lose. We should talk about pricing because at some stage, because I've tried so many different models.
No, well, we are kind of this is a chat about pricing, because the tweet itself kicked off stuff about your costs of the hosting, and it comes from an account who pushes this make loads of money by not doing any work or doing lots of work. I don't know. I get so confused.
Yeah, we're going to get sued.
But it winds me up. And like, as I said, there's a little bit of me that goes, is it winding me up because I can't execute this? Or is it winding me up because so many people seem to be buying into this idea that you can do and follow the numbers that this guy is purporting to do? And it's like, if I was the most efficient worker ever, and I hit my desk at 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't leave till 7 o'clock in the morning, like as you've said, I could have 5 clients max on that kind of system, and I would be rinsing it, and I wouldn't be a very happy man. I'd be very grumpy. I wouldn't have any energy. I wouldn't be able to go to the gym. I wouldn't be able to hang out with my kids. Like, there'd be so many downsides to that.
Well, maybe he just works his ass off. Maybe he works 24 hours a day.
He has 50 clients. Like, there's not
Does
5.
he?
Well, you have to do 1.2 million a year.
Not sure he's what. I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are.
You have to have that many. Anyway, the long story short, there was a Twitter Spaces that Dylan set up a couple of days ago, and there was some really good discussions on there about pricing and the nuances with pricing. Like, yes, you can have unlimited means one thing to one and one thing to another, and then you have the retainer model, which it's seen as this traditional old retainer model, and there are downsides and historical fallacies with the way certain big agencies would employ the retainer model. There's
Mm.
not having rollover hours or only a certain amount of rollover hours, and if you have to have 3 months to cancel it and all this kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily buy into this flexible model of pay your money, you get unlimited kind of model. So there's a lot of that. I understand where people are coming from. They're going, the old retainer model was broken, this new retainer model is brilliant. And I think there's a nuance between somewhere in the middle where you can have retainers, and I've spoken to agencies I've worked with who've done the same. They've had unlimited, and then they do hourly retainers, like 40-hour packages or 20-hour packages. And it's the transparency that you get with clients when they go, hey, do you know what? I think I need 20 hours this month. I'm going to buy 20 hours. And what that does is means that I as a freelancer go, okay, I'm going to breathe. I'm not going to go after new leads. If a new lead comes in, I know someone's already booked me out. I don't know necessarily what they want me to do yet, but I know that they've guaranteed that they're going to use those hours as effectively as possible. Now, that is the comfort zone that I feel is the best place for anyone to start. So it's transparent. It's going, you pay me the money.
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. It's just transparency and communication. It doesn't matter which way you're selling the retainer. It's about communication. Like, isn't it like Flow Sparrow are very successful with the retainer model, and I know the number of clients is quite low. And Snowhouse used to do, I don't know if they still do them, but they definitely did retainer models, and they had a lot more clients, but they had a lot of staff. So there is like ethical ways of selling this. Like there's quite and Dylan's doing it at the moment. He seems to be, working really hard at what he's doing, and I've seen there's been a few others that have gone down this route, and there's even ones like where people are saying there's retainers unlimited, small task retainers, and yeah, like the word unlimited is just a marketing word, but like once you get talking to your client, it's like this is how it works, and they either buy it or they don't. Like if the client doesn't buy it, if they don't buy it, they're not getting screwed over. But if you explain to them and tell them what's going on, and they buy it and they understand what they're buying, like the client knows what they're in for, and that's it. It's the same. I just see them both as it's the same kind of model, but just marketed in a slightly different way. And you should just use the one that works best for the way you work.
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't use them. I'm just saying I think sometimes there are people out there giving the unlimited thing this panacea, and therefore it doesn't, as you rightly said, it doesn't work for every client relationship. It doesn't work for every freelancer. But what I try and urge the caution is do something that has love on both sides of the fence. A lot of the times I hear the unlimited thing is all about, consistent income, not punishing efficiency and all this kind of stuff, which tends to sit on the freelancer side of, making sure that you're nice and safe and you're getting a set amount of income in.
And what's wrong with that?
Because it hides, there's nothing wrong with that assertion, but it often hides the downsides or potential downsides that a client might face if you sell them this thing.
You keep talking about downsides as if the client is not getting the benefit of the skill set of the freelancer.
No, I'm not. Like, I'm saying
you keep saying downsides.
At the end of the month.
What about the benefits that the client gets?
I've talked about the benefits, but the downsides are that some clients don't realize that unlimited isn't unlimited.
But that's what I was saying. Like usually you have
it's false advertising.
But also, hang on. Sometimes clients don't realize with their 40-hour contract a month that they don't get the 40 hours next month if they don't use them. There's all sorts of ways that you can.
Yeah, but 40 hours says 40 hours. It's like it's written in the lights. You get 40 hours. You don't get any more than that.
What if they don't use the 40 hours? Does that mean they get 80 hours next month? Absolutely not.
No, there are retainer models that say you can roll over.
and there are ones that say you don't. So like
I know, but
it's
that's
all
so clear. That's so clear. You get 40 hours, use it or lose it. That's the clearest thing you can ever do. If I go to the shop and buy milk off someone and don't use it,
yeah,
it's super clear. But if I go and say you've got unlimited milk, and then in the small print it says you're only allowed 2 pints per day, well, that isn't unlimited. But
okay.
it's a
So
marketing ploy. People used to do it a lot, didn't they? You said like you get unlimited refills. Oh, a fair usage policy of only one refill per day. That's that's kind of how this unlimited thing leaves a taste in my mouth. It's going, it's unlimited. It's not unlimited. There is nothing unlimited about this apart from the ability for someone to do unlimited requests. But even that has a limit because, you know,
I'm pretty sure that every person selling this service has constantly said it's unlimited requests, and then they clarify it very clearly on their websites. It's one task per time. And just going back to the 40 hours per month, if that also isn't explained right, a client could be like, I've got 40 hours a month. I could get 40 tasks done because it's 40 hours. And then one task takes 40 hours. And they're like, I thought I'd get more tasks done. It's all about communication. It's all about
yeah,
and
yeah, that's true. Like this has
so
been
there's
a heated
all of these things
discussion
can
of
have
two sides
pitfalls.
of the fence, but I'm pretty I I'm very. It's one of my bugbears. Like you, there's a lot of people I speak to about this, but the bugbear is unlimited is not unlimited. It doesn't. It
Your
doesn't.
bugbear is someone selling something that isn't realistic. That's what your bugbear is. Your bugbear is that there's
Yeah, the
someone.
word
Yeah,
unlimited is unrealistic because it's not actually true in any sense of the word. It's not actually true. So why use words which are designed to create this sense of unlimitedness when actually there is limits all over the place? They're all in the fine print, in the way you work. Everything is limited.
yeah. I would still, you have to clarify that they're not hidden in the fine print. Usually, people have 3 cards on their page where it's very clearly explained what they're getting in those products. Yeah, okay. You don't like the name. Fair enough. As I said, the name Unlimited is a marketing name. It's a marketing tool to get someone talking to you, and then you explain it. Like I'm just going to give another like an example that is stuff that has happened to me where I've sold like 10 hours in a month, and then they won't pay for the extra 5 hours or 10 hours that I've done. Like I've had that experience. So it works both ways. Yeah, it works both ways.
Well, yeah. Maybe you
Yeah,
didn't.
like it's happened. It's definitely happened
Yeah,
to you
but
as well that you haven't been paid for work that
I
you've
know,
done.
but that's so clear. It's like I have done the work, you pay the money, and they go, well, there
Oh
was
no, it should have been done in 8 hours and you did 15 hours, so I'm not paying you. Like it's that sucks as well.
no, I know that, but there's a trust issue there. But the unlimited is nothing to do
Yeah.
with trust. It's to do with false advertising and trying to
Man, you have
create.
to be so careful because there's a lot of people using it and they're not
I'm
false
not.
advertising because their site is says it clearly what it is.
The word unlimited is false because there isn't anything unlimited. It takes someone to then unpick that and put in disclaimers about the word unlimited to make the word unlimited not false. Essentially, it's like if they just put you get unlimited for this price and then left it at that, there is nothing in the world that would protect them from false advertising.
But they don't.
But they
Anyway,
don't.
we're going back and forth.
No, I know,
We're
but
going back and
it's
forth.
it's a
We're
bugbear.
rehashing the
Right.
exact same thing.
Anyway, to summarise, my end as well is there's a few accounts, there's a lot of accounts out there that say unlimited for X amount, and they seem to have got a big following. And when they tweet, people stand up and listen, and they have in like all walks of Twitter and Reddit, there are fanboys and fangirls and no, but it's true. And sometimes they, as you said right at the start, sometimes they don't realize the weight, or maybe they do realize, but they have a responsibility to not spread stuff or information that maybe doesn't hold true all of the time, because it has an impact on big agencies, little agencies, freelancers, successful people. Like it has an influence, and it starts conversations in lots of different corners of the world, which can have a detrimental impact on people's lifestyle. So it's definitely a responsibility. When you get into that position, when you've got whatever tens of thousands of followers, you have a responsibility to think twice about what you do. And I guess, that would also be my case. My perception or my perspective on the word unlimited is just use it, but risk using it, because it doesn't mean what it means. And I understand the marketing behind it. I just think it's a craze that is completely fudging the good work of people who actually have proper, thought out, transparent, communicated retainers that, I don't know. I've twisted myself into all sorts of knots here. So
Yeah, look,
and we've been going an hour and 5 minutes. So I don't know. We can go on for another hour if you want, but
and we'll just say the exact same thing over and over again. I think it can work. You think it doesn't.
Yeah.
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 Look, there's more than one ways to skin a cat, and hopefully we'll just leave it there. It's I think we should try and get back to actually, because there's so many different pricing models as well. I'd like to talk about pricing because I ended up doing a few different things, so maybe we'll come up to that in another chat.
Yeah, we'll press stop on the record. We'll go and have a coffee.
The Irish goodbye.
The Irish goodbye.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.